We get calls every week from people just like yourself wanting to know what it's like to live in Kentucky. People wanting to come here for a different lifestyle, a lower cost of living, a different cost of living. And so in today's video, I'm going to break down the many lifestyles that make up what Kentucky is. And so you can narrow down exactly what you're hoping to find here. So in today's video, we're talking about finding the perfect Kentucky home that complements your lifestyle. So let's cover several different lifestyles that make up what Kentucky is. But first, we need to talk about things to consider. When you're moving from state A to state B, Kentucky, for example, if you're coming here wanting a different lifestyle, let's just break down real quickly some things that you want to consider before we start diving into let's find a house. So first, we want to definitely identify your lifestyle priorities. So things like your interests, your hobbies, your family size, maybe your work commute, and the amenities that you'd like to see in and around the town you want to live in. Second, we want to consider housing options. So are you looking for a single family home, a condo, a townhouse, rural properties in a smaller town? Deciding on what type of house you're looking for can actually be pretty easy because you already know what you're looking for, so that one can go pretty quick. But number three is budget considerations. We need to consider our income, our expenses, and local housing market trends. Number four kind of goes along with housing options. We want to consider community amenities. What are we looking for here? Are schools important to us? Recreational facilities, shopping centers, cultural attractions, all things we want to keep in mind as we're looking to what kind of lifestyle we want to live in this new state. Okay, so let's break down these lifestyles that are common to Kentuckians. And I'm going to give you an example of a recently sold property of each type of lifestyle, so you can see what kind of properties are out there that might match the lifestyle that you want to live. Now, of course, I know you all have access to Zillow and all the big websites, and you can see all the properties that are out there. But I'm going to kind of give you an example of what type of property could match the lifestyle that you're looking for. So this could get exciting. I hope it's helpful to you. The first lifestyle is clearly going to be the rural farming lifestyle, or AKA homesteading. Well, you can check out Jarrett's video on homesteading, which he did, I believe, last week, and dive a little deeper into what today's homesteading really means. But here in Kentucky, homesteading can simply just mean farming. You know, living the rural lifestyle. And that is what Kentucky is made up of. So if you're coming here to do that, well, you've got a ton of options to pick from. What does homesteading and farming and rural life really look like here in Kentucky? Well, really it's a mix of self-reliant, sustainable living where maybe you grow your own food and you live off grid a little bit outside of town. That's usually what people want. A lot of people think they want to come here and get 100+ acres and, you know, start this farm, and they do so not really knowing fully what all of that involves. And then they end up purchasing, you know, maybe 3 to 5 acres, honestly, maybe 10, maybe 15. But the workload that goes behind all of that, what homesteading and farming is, can be way more than I think some people realize when they're coming from a completely different lifestyle and wanting to start something totally different. So there's a lot to consider when you're wanting to come here to live that lifestyle. So if you're wanting to live this kind of lifestyle, here's an example of a property in Logan County that recently sold. Now this is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house. This one is on 71 acres located in Logan County. So it's kind of southwest of the Bowling Green area, out a little ways. And this property sold for $710,000 in March of 2024. So just to give you an example of what a 4-bedroom house on 71 acres could go for, out in a county a little bit, 30 minutes from Bowling Green, could go for, you're looking at about $700,000. Second lifestyle that you could live here in Kentucky is the urban professional lifestyle. The two biggest cities in Kentucky are Louisville and Lexington, And if that's where you're looking to live, that is where you'll find a lot of business executives, lawyers, doctors, engineers, people who want to live a faster paced lifestyle like the bigger cities. Maybe people who always want to enjoy urban amenities and restaurants and cultural scenes and nightlife. Of course, we know big city life, small town life, two totally different things. So you can do that here in Kentucky, and there's a lot of people who love that lifestyle. Here's an example of a 2-bed, 2.5-bath contemporary condo in the downtown Louisville area. This is in the Highlands, Germantown area. It's about 2,000 square feet. And this property sold for $555,000 in April of 2023. And in this type of community, you might have some higher HOAs. For example, this particular property has HOAs of about $10,000. So this is a completely different lifestyle than the first one we talked about, but let's move on to the third. The third lifestyle you could choose is the college town lifestyle. Kentucky's made up of several college towns. So Lexington having University of Kentucky, Louisville is the University of Louisville, and down in Bowling Green, the third largest city, would be WKU, Western Kentucky University. So these areas obviously have a larger student population and can carry like a college town feel, of course. They tend to be characterized by academic pursuits and college nightlife, campus activities, youthful energy going on in these areas, but not all around the area, but in the heart of campus, yes, it feels like college town. So this is an example of a property who maybe might be purchased by someone who works at, let's say, WKU, not necessarily attends there, because as we know, student population can be all kinds of ages and all kinds of lifestyles, and they might be living on campus, or it might be for different reasons. But let's say maybe this person's coming to work at WKU, and so this might be a property that they would choose. So here's an example of a 3-bed, 2.5-bath home on 1 acre in the South Warren area of Bowling Green. This one sold for $415,000 in January of 2024. Lifestyle number 4 is the retirement lifestyle. A lot of people want to come to an area like Kentucky or Central Kentucky, South Central Kentucky to retire. Lower cost of living, taxes aren't bad here, and if you want more information on maybe what it's like to retire in a state like Kentucky, check out my video I did on what it's like to retire in Kentucky. Might be helpful to you. It's an attractive place to live for retirees. There's a lot of outdoor activities here in Kentucky, a mild climate. We do experience the 4 seasons, of course, affordable cost of living, and honestly, a lot of the things that are around Kentucky, the amenities that are around, are tailored to, an older community. A lot of retirees settle in cities like Owensboro and Bowling Green, for example. Just laid back, quiet, family-centered communities. It's really pleasant in these areas. So there's all kinds of different properties that someone who is maybe entering into the retirement stages of their life would choose. So this is just an example of one community that might be chosen by someone who is, moving on and wanted to settle down in a nicer gated community on a golf course. So this is an example of a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath home, about 1,900 square feet on a 0.15 acre lot. So a smaller, low maintenance yard. This property sold for $435,000 in about February of 2024. This particular home sold in a community called Old Stone, which is just east of the Bowling Green area. It's a gated community. It's on a really nice golf course, and a lot of retirees like it for that reason. The HOA fees are higher. There's member fees that you have to pay when living in this type of community. But again, this is just an example of a property that may interest you if you're retiring and coming to this area. It's a really nice community. Number 5 is the horse farm lifestyle. Now, as you guys know, Kentucky is known for the horse industry. Lots of people come to live here if they're into horse breeding and training and entering in the races and the Kentucky Derby. But some people maybe just want to own a few horses because that's the lifestyle they want to live. Just raise them on their farm and take care of them and have horses as part of their lifestyle. It would be a lot like the first lifestyle we talked about, homesteading, but in this case, a lot of people are looking for property specifically to, maintain and care for their horses. So here's an example of a property that might appeal to someone who has a couple horses. This is a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath house on about 2,600 square feet. And this house was on 19 acres in the Sonora area, which is just South Hardin County. Now this one sold in February of 2024 and it went for $640,000. Okay guys, this one's simple. Number 6 is what Kentucky is made of. Small town living. Now I did a video on this a while back on the differences between our cities here in Kentucky and our small towns. And I gotta tell you, small towns are what Kentucky is made of. So if you're coming here for a slower pace of lifestyle, I mean, you can throw a dart at the map and you'll land on a small town because the largest cities being Louisville and Lexington, and then the 3rd largest city in the whole state is Bowling Green. And that has a population of about 75,000 people. Anything else outside of that is much, much smaller and feels like small town America. So this type of person is probably looking for it. Now they could be looking for something in the suburbs close to schools and in town with some shopping, but they could also be looking for something just outside of town, maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes on a little bit of acreage, but they're not trying to spend $500,000 or $600,000. So here's an example of a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home on 5 acres in the Logan County area. Again, southwest side of Bowling Green. This one sold for $253,000 in February of 2024. See, so it is possible to get a little bit of acreage under $300,000 here. You just got to step outside of town a little bit. Number 7, our last and final lifestyle that we're talking about today is the tourism and hospitality lifestyle. Now, this is just kind of an extra thing we threw in there because, well, it can be a thing. I mean, we know several people who work up at Mammoth Cave or work at Churchill Downs and love the hospitality and tourism lifestyle that you can live here with the tourism things we have going on in Kentucky. So you can work the bourbon trails. I mean, there's a lot of different things around here that might interest you for, you know, a job opportunity or career. With that being said, you can live anywhere, of course, and travel to work, but let's use an example of someone who may want to like work at Mammoth Cave and they live in the Hart County area. So this house is actually in Edmonson County, which is still near the Mammoth Cave area, but it's a 4-bed, 2-bath home, 1,900 square feet on 1 acre, and it sold for $365,000 in February of 2024. So comment below, tell us what kind of lifestyle you would be looking for if you were looking to move to the central Kentucky area. Tons to do here, all different types and walks of life. Even though it is small town America, I mean, you can live any type of lifestyle, honestly. Urban, rural, suburban, train a horse and win the Kentucky Derby. All up to you. I hope the video was helpful. Check out one of these videos next, and we will see you next week.